Yo, have you heard about Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast NFL edition. We are back with our bi-weekly NFL show. We have our NFL expert, our producer, Mr. Justin Ackendale. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We're going to be talking some NFL, and it seems like every time after we record that next week, something crazy happens.
Yep, that seems to be the pattern, man. The whole NFL world bombshell the week that we don't record. Always the weeks we don't record.
So I know, right? So last time we recorded, it's when John Gruden's emails first came out. The first ones talking about the president of the NFLPA saying, Jesus, said he had tire lips.
Some monkey
lips,
racist. Some
lips.
Racist.
Yes, yeah. And that was bad in itself. And then we get to the Monday Night Football game, and it got a lot worse. They broke the news during Monday Night Football of him resigning. They found emails of homophobic and misogynistic emails. He was just degrading everybody and everywhere, and like they made him resign, so they didn't really fire him, but I know basically
he got fired. Fuck
that. I know. And his messages were sent to Bruce Allen, former president of the Washington football team. Like it was bad. Gruden criticized Goodell in the league for trying to reduce concussions, said that Eric Reed, a player who had demonstrated during the national anthem, should be fired. He used homophobic slurs to refer to Goodell, offensive language to describe some NFL owners, coaches, journalists who cover the league. Yeah, he even called out former President Barack Obama and now current President Joe Biden in his emails. Bro, it was wild. He called, and I quote, Vice President Joseph R. Biden a nervous, clueless pussy.
He also called Roger Goodell a pussy too.
So, and he got fired during Monday Night Football that week. Justin, what are your thoughts on this?
So I'm subscribed to the New York Times, so I got a little alert on my iPad before the game started last Monday, and I read the article and I was like, "Whoa!" He was saying some shit very freely, and then like all of it hit the fan at halftime. We weren't even talking about Lamar Jackson coming back to beat the Colts, which was kind of incredible. But my first thought was, man, how could you be that stupid to like email that shit to like someone on an NFL team? I know he worked for ESPN and he was using his own personal email account, but you're emailing Bruce Allen, who was he was the president of the Washington football team at the time, and it's just bad. It's on the web, like people can see that shit, and I was just surprised at the stupidity and some of the stuff he was saying, because he was very bold in the way that he was speaking about everything.
My thing is, why wasn't everyone else using, like, I'm not condoning this thing at all, but just from a stupidity thing, why was everyone else not using personal emails?
Yeah. I don't know why Bruce Allen was saying that shit on his
like what?
Was saying that shit on his official Washington football team email account, and he's not with the team anymore, so that's why he's skating free on all this. But yeah, man, it was crazy. And then obviously when that came, like when I first read the story, I didn't know what was about to happen to him, and then like as soon as like Monday Night Football started, and then the news came down like in the second quarter while they were playing, I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised. Like you can't say that shit. And then he has to like, if they would try to retain him, he has to go into the locker room and deal with his players. He has black players. He has an openly gay player on the team. It just wouldn't have worked.
So this man, he also just recently had a little public thing saying that the truth will come out about the email scandal, because you saw like other NFL players were like, man, release all the 650,000 emails. We want to say who's saying what. And I don't know if that's a firestorm the league's ready for.
Nah, I see the NFL doing everything in their power to make sure those emails come out. And you know what the funny thing is? When I was watching the Thursday night game yesterday, there was this commercial about some LGBT little foundation that the NFL is involved in. And I love how they aired that commercial a week after John Gruden resigns. It was just kind of ironic.
I mean, but that's how the NFL does it. If you remember during not this draft, the draft during like prime COVID when they were all at home and like they had like the Black Lives like Matter thing, and the NFL responded quickly, and I quote, because they saw Patrick Mahomes in the commercial.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the NFL definitely has a precedent with this. You know, there's some bad publicity will come out, and then they'll show that they're down with the cause. Like the NFL does do this a lot.
And then just recently, as of 4:44 today, one of Congress is trying to get involved in these emails.
Yes, I did see that.
Me personally, I have a problem with that because Congress has bigger things to worry about than NFL emails. Like this should not, the National Football League's already won it itself, but if you're mixing Congress in there, I don't think we really need Congress to deal with NFL emails.
Yeah, they probably don't need to get involved, but the only chance of the general public seeing those emails is if Congress does get involved, because there's no way the NFL is going to just release those emails, because there's probably some pretty bad stuff in there on the account of what they put out about John Gruden. And the funny thing is, it was an investigation on the Washington football team, not the Vegas Raiders, but the Washington football team. Why is John Gruden getting fired? Not defending John Gruden at all, because he sucks, but why is John Gruden getting fired for an investigation about a team that he's not even about, that his brother coached for at the time? Like,
honestly, man, I think he was the scapegoat. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Absolutely, you can fire a head coach, you can't fire our own.
That is true, because people are like, why are they defending Jay Gruden? Like why are they defending who's the Washington owner? What's his name?
Daniel Snyder.
Daniel Snyder, who, on a side note, terrible timing, decided to do the Sean Taylor like memorial thing to to try and make some positive things. And I don't know.
And about that Sean Taylor like memorial thing, I was listening to a couple of shows. Like some people said it wasn't even a good memorial for him. Like
he didn't wear a suit. He did nothing.
Like it sucked. So like another thing the Washington football team is getting wrong.
They're terrible. But when all those emails and all that stuff happened, the happiest person in the NFL was Urban Meyer. We forgot about that Urban thing quick. That was out.
Quick, and then he won last week. So we really forgetting now.
He was sitting there happy because he's like, dang, glad it's not me.
Yeah, but to Urban's defense, he didn't do anything nearly as bad as John Gruden saying that shit. Like,
no.
If you go and say that shit, you better make sure it don't get out. It's not on the internet. If you are going to be like that, like, you can't do it online. Period.
Right. But enough about John. He's gone. We'll see. Sooner or later, he's going to have a response. A big response, and we'll be reporting it when it happens. But let's get to some football, actually, on the field. Thursday night football game was honestly a very boring matchup. It was the Browns versus the Broncos. Browns did come out on top 17-14. And Justin, man, this Browns team it's already week 7? And they have been ravaged by injuries. Like if you look at their injury report, it is ridiculous.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to cover this game, but I have the Browns in the game recaps for last week because they were so fucking bad.
That was bad.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we had the update since they were playing on Thursday. They won 17-14. They didn't have Baker, Nick Chubb, or Kareem Hunt. Jarvis also got hurt when he was returning. He played pretty well until he hurt himself. Undrafted third-year pro Ernest Johnson went off for 168 total yards, 140 from being rushing yards. Case Keenum played pretty well. I'm seriously concerned about the Browns. Like, they were so hyped up during the offseason. Oh, they might go to the Super Bowl. I don't even think they're going to win the division at this rate, to be quite honest. I mean, they're a fucking body bag right now. That terrible game against the Cardinals. If I'm Cleveland right now, I still think they're a playoff team. I still think they can make it to the playoffs. The offensive line's real good. They just had their third string running back just absolutely run up and down on the Denver Broncos. I think you shut down Baker Mayfield and you let Case Keenum run. I think you have the same ceiling with Baker Mayfield and Case Keenum at this point.
So my thing with the Browns is that, yeah, they got smacked by the Cardinals. They were 3-3. But going into halftime when Baker threw that Hail Mary, they could have been in the game. But honestly, Justin, that defense it's been terrible.
I wouldn't say it's been terrible. It's been good against the shitty teams and bad against the good teams.
But if you're but remember what they were hyped up to be, a potential Super Bowl team, you got to be good against the good teams too.
Yeah, no.
Like if you watch that Cardinals game, there was blown coverages all over the place. The 49ers, the Chargers game, they could have had that game. They should have had that game in the bag, and they just blown coverages all over. Because I will say that the Chiefs and the Chargers, those are not bad losses that they had, but that Cardinals game was bad, and it's because they could have won the Chargers and the Chiefs game, but that Arizona game, but it's also how much respect do we put on Arizona now because they're 6-0. People still weren't respecting them.
Yeah, let me go over some of their scores. They gave up 33 against the Chiefs. They gave up 21 against Houston, but they won that game. Gave up 6 against the Bears when that's when Andy Dalton got hurt. 7 against Minnesota. So they only give up 7 points against Minnesota. It was a pretty good offense. So you're thinking, oh yeah, they might do something. Then the next week, 47 against the Chargers, but they also had 42, so they were keeping up. And then that absolute shit show last Sunday. I'm so mad because I bet on the Browns too, because the Cardinals were without their coach and without their best pass rusher Chandler Jones, and they had a couple more offensive coaches still not there. And Kyler Murray still has 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah, that was
couldn't stop anything. It would have been 17-0 at halftime. Did not get the Hail Mary, which I don't even count. They basically only scored 7 points that whole entire afternoon. Just ain't going to cut it.
They also need to stop going for it on 4th down every time because I've not seen them make a 4th down conversion. It's starting to get pretty bad. Every time in the end zone, 4th and 3, bootleg to the right, Baker gets sacked. Every time.
Yeah, they made one last night against Denver, but I mean, Denver's not good either. I mean, Denver, you need to start looking for a quarterback. You haven't had one since Peyton Manning. Teddy Bridgewater, look for a quarterback. I mean, I think the Browns are going to do pretty well in the next in their next couple of games. They got Pittsburgh next week, Cincinnati in 2 weeks. I will be at that game as well. The Patriots and then the Lions. So I see 3-1 there, but even with Case Keenum potentially playing, but yeah, they gotta do better against some of these better teams. I mean, they got Baltimore still on deck, and they got Green Bay later down. So I'm very interested in those games to see how they play against those offenses because it's a pattern now.
Well,
when the offense isn't good, the defense is like top 5 in the league, and then when they play a good offense, they're awful.
Myles Garrett isn't getting any holding calls either. He's saying that he's getting the Shaq treatment. I will say with the Browns defense, though, to shout out to basketball player Bradley Beal when he was talking about his Wizards last year, they can't guard a parked car. That's how bad that defense is. And Broncos, you're right. They need to get a quarterback. But we already recapped some of the Browns thing. You're already saying they should shut down Baker, which I don't know if they will, but I don't now. Which one of the big games?
He needs surgery.
Oh, he does. He does.
And then all right, I guess you keep him playing, but you can't evaluate him hurt because he's up for a contract extension. So I wouldn't want to evaluate him hurt. So I'm saying shut him down for the rest of the year. You got Case Keenum there. I mean, Case Keenum did go to got to the divisional. No,
he knows Stefanski's offense. He does.
Yeah, he knows Stefanski's offense. Got to an NFC Championship game when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. So I think they'll be able to stay afloat with him, and especially once they get Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb back, that offense is going to roll. It goes to the run in the offensive line anyway. I think you shut Baker down. You give him a little 1-year extension, and then next year is going to be the prove it year. But
so how about for 1 year though? I don't know if you think he's better than Case Keenum, but why don't for 1 year you do rent a Cam? Is Cam better than Case Keenum?
What do you mean?
Like, what if they sign Cam Newton for this 1 year
as the backup?
If you shut Baker down, you have a QB battle between Keenum and Cam Newton. If Cam Newton wins, you roll with him for the year.
Nah, Case Keenum already knows the offense. I wouldn't.
But if he's a better QB,
I don't think Cam Newton gives you a better chance to win over Case Keenum right now.
Okay. No, fair enough. But before we go into all these other recaps, you were at a game. You were in person. You were at Cincinnati and Green Bay. What was it like being in person at an NFL game during COVID? How was it?
I mean, I went to a Cowboys Browns game few years ago, and I would say even during our COVID era, it was about the same. I mean,
wow,
no one had mask on. I mean, there was a bunch of fans from the other team. There were so many Green Bay Packers fans, and they're just screaming "Go Pat, go!" But yeah, it was your typical NFL game. Everyone was drunk. I wasn't up the tailgate, but I pulled up right after kickoff, about 10 minutes after. Sat down, watched that whole game. The only thing I had to complain about is I was sitting in the middle, kind of up in the nosebleeds. And I couldn't really, and they were missing all those kicks. I couldn't really tell. I have a better angle at home.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. But hey, at least you were there. You got to see a wild one. At least it wasn't a snooze fest. Remember on this podcast when we previewed, we said if it's close, Green Bay's going to win. Cincinnati got to blow them out. You can't give Aaron Rodgers any time. And
Devontae Adams was going.
He's different.
Off.
He's
different. God. See him in person. You were just there like, Bengals can't do nothing against him. Mm-hmm. They couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Another game to recap, and gotta say it, Justin, how about your Cowboys?
How about those Cowboys?
5-1.
The 5-1 Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God, this game was kind of a shit show too. I mean, Cowboys were playing like complete dog shit, but they were still outplaying the Patriots. I mean, they outgained them 445 yards, only 215 in the game. Cowboys just couldn't score in the red zone. They got robbed on the Dak QB sneak at the end of the second quarter. He definitely got in there, but it was all right. And then we get to the fourth quarter. Patriots are up 21 to 20. With 2:27 left, Trayvon Diggs gets his 7th interception in 6 games for a pick 6. Absolutely wild. And then the very next play, when New England gets the ball back, he blows a coverage and Kendrick Bourne gets a 75-yard touchdown pass. Cowboys are able to tie it up to go into overtime. Patriots get the ball first. They end up punting. The Cowboys drive it 80 yards and get a 35-yard CD land touchdown to win the game. Just wild. You sent an article and I read down. And they said 30 million people were watching that game last week when it got in the crunch time. So CBS is definitely cashing that check in. Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for the Cowboys at this point in the season. I mean, got the bye this week. Dak has a calf issue, but timing couldn't be better. And then Sunday Night Football next week against the Vikings at Minnesota.
5-1 in the NFC East currently right now.
2-game lead on everybody. This is fucking horrible.
My thing is, he has 7 picks now, Diggs. When are people going to stop throwing to his side? Are they going to keep? Well, it is. He did have the pick 6 in the next play, just blown it. But are they going to could he have a Revis Island type effect where they just don't throw it to his side?
I mean, getting all these interceptions is like kind of random. Like, it's honestly insane because he wasn't very good last year, but I think a lot of that was the old defensive coordinator because he was just terrible. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to have a Revis Island type of deal because you saw on the very next play that he blew the cover. So he still has some work to do, but he's having a breakout of all breakout seasons. That young man is he is great, and he's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. It's going to be an All-Pro, Pro Bowl, all the good stuff, and hopefully he just keeps improving. Maybe next year he might get a Revis Island, a Diggs Island.
But even though the Cowboys are your team and they won, a team that you've talked about at the beginning of the year, they did lose, and that was the Patriots. And so far right now, Justin, it's not looking good for your Patriots to the playoffs prediction.
Nah, that bet might be a wash. They got the Jets this week, Chargers next week at the Chargers. After they lost to Baltimore, I don't know. They might be able to do it, but
that is true. The Chargers had that, and the Chargers-Brown game was one of the top games of the year. Then the next week they got smoked by we need to put some respect on the Ravens. They're saying we're still here.
Yeah, we'll talk about them in the next segment. And then they're at Carolina, who's Carolina's also been shaky lately after
Christian McCaffrey.
Since Christian McCaffrey hurt himself, and then Cleveland, and Bill Belichick hates Cleveland, so anyone can win that game, and Case Keenum will be playing quarterback. So yeah, I'm still holding out hope. Maybe they can get on a little run. It's going to have to be a wild card spot, but it's looking like second place of the AFC West is probably going to get that. Second place of the North, and then probably another team from either the West or North at the rate's going.
Fair enough. So you did hint that we are going to be previewing the Ravens, and the Ravens are in a big game. 5-1 Ravens against the 4-2 Bengals. Justin, man, tell us about this game and what you're thinking.
Yep. So Cincinnati, the hometown team, is going to Baltimore this week. Baltimore is a 6.5 point favorite. The Bengals, the last 3 games, they have beaten the Jacksonville Jaguars, lost to the Green Bay Packers that we talked about a little bit earlier, and then stomp the Lions last week.
And then
and then the Ravens are on a 3-game winning streak. Well, it's longer than that, but their last 3 games have been wins against Denver, the Monday night game that we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, the John Gruden game against the Colts, and then stomped, whooped the dog shit out of the Chargers last week. And I know my bets weren't advertised last week. That was the only game that I won last week. Last week sucked. Fuck you, Buffalo. God damn it. They ruined it for me.
Well, they're no joke either.
They're not, but I still believe in Buffalo, but they did fuck it for me. Ravens are 6th in total DVOA, 9th in offensive DVOA, 14th in defensive DVOA. Bengals are 13th in DVOA, 19th on offense, and 5th on defense. Lamar Jackson does Lamar Jackson things. He has 9 touchdowns, 9 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. Joe Burrow has 14 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, the rookie, has 5 touchdowns, 553 yards. He's the deep threat on the team. And Joe Mixon has 480 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. That's 4th in the league. I think the Ravens are going to win this game, but I think the Bengals are going to keep it close. The Ravens are a blitzing team, and if Joe Burrow can handle the blitz well against the Ravens, I think they keep it close and potentially win. The Ravens have the Ravens have also won the past 5 matchups against the Bengals too.
Got
that nugget.
What time is this game getting flexed? Is this game getting flexed for
it's a 1 o'clock game?
Is it only going to be for us regional, or is this going to be like the prime game most people see?
The prime game most people are going to see is probably the one that we're going to talk about next, Titans Chiefs.
Oh, that's at 1 o'clock too.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree. I think the Ravens are going to win, but it's kind of crazy that if the Bengals win, they're going to be first place in the AFC North because they'll have the tiebreaker currently against the Ravens.
Yeah, they will have the tiebreaker. It's their first matchup of the year. And yeah, I mean, the Bengals have the second rated DVOA in the red zone. The Ravens can be shaky against the pass. I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to run on them, but I definitely think passing is there. And honestly, if Joe Burrow can handle the blitz, it might look like the Kansas City game. It might be like a 38-35 high scoring type of game.
But I know you've seen Lamar's numbers currently. They're comparable to his MVP numbers, some better. So, like, is he on his way to a second MVP almost? Like, if he keeps it up, because no one was talking about this Ravens team at the beginning of the year, and here they are now.
I think they'll give it to Kyler Murray if they keep winning. I don't think they're going to give Lamar a second MVP, but Lamar does Lamar things. I mean, that man, watching him, he is just he does this shit that you wouldn't want your quarterback to do. Like the way he just escapes up the middle. Like a lot of times he'll get sacked, like trying to escape up the middle. But like the 2 times a game where he gets through, it's a 30-yard gain. Like the stuff he does is just crazy. Like the Bengals are going to have a hard time stopping that, but I think they're going to be able to keep up scoring with them. Ravens win, but Bengals keep it close.
Other game you have previewing, you got the 3-3 Chiefs against the 4-2 Titans, and the Chiefs have not been impressive this year at all. I talked about the Browns defense being bad. The Chiefs defense is horrible.
The Chiefs defense is actually bad. I don't think they've had one good game on. I mean, I guess you can say last week Washington only had 13 points. They're terrible too.
But the Titans were just on Monday Night Football, and Derrick Henry put on a clinic.
Yeah. Derrick goddamn Henry. I said in the beginning of the year that Derrick Henry is going to fall off. That man's on pace for 2,000 yards again.
3 touchdowns this Monday, and I feel like he's going to feast this Sunday.
I was so hyperbolic in our group message on Monday. I said that Derrick Henry is already a Hall of Famer. I looked through the stats. He's not there yet. He needs a couple more seasons, but I mean, shit, if he gets back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons, he's easily the best back in the past 10. Like, this Justin, dude is just a mutant.
You said more than Hall of Fame, because I agreed that he'll get there, but you said top 5 running backs all time.
Yeah, I did say that. I mean, if you're talking just pure talent and size, and we've never seen a running back like this. We've never seen someone so big and so fast. That nigga is a defensive end playing running back. He has grown men scared of tackle him. Grown men! Grown men in the NFL. That's like an NFL linebacker is tougher than your average man, tougher than any of these motherfuckers walking around the street, and they don't want to tackle him. Derrick Henry is just pounding you for 60 goddamn minutes. You give up. A lot of teams give up, and I don't think Buffalo gave up because Josh Allen just slept and fall, or they win that game. But yeah, Derrick Henry's a problem. He's an absolute about the game. It's going to be a shootout. Both defenses suck. Kansas City's defense can't stop the run. Tennessee's defense can't stop the pass. So you got to mismatch both ways. Tennessee's, honest to God, the only path to winning is if they ball control and keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes, which I think which I fully think they're capable of doing.
But Patrick's been throwing picks this year, man.
Yeah. He has been. Some, interceptions can be random, but yeah, he's been a little loose with the ball. If he has one of his turnover games, Tennessee can win it straight up. But if the Chiefs are on their game, they're going to win this game. I mean, the passing offense is crazy. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, even with all the interceptions, still has 18 touchdowns in 6 games. So he's still lining up. Like, it's still Patrick Mahomes. He's just being a little loose with the ball. But yeah, I see this being a shootout. I see the Titans keeping it close. Titans will keep it close if they can run the ball effectively and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Or if the Chiefs play a perfect game, the Titans will get blown out. So the game's going one of two ways.
So I have 2 questions. I think I'm going Titans on this. I can't trust the Chiefs defense. And the Josh Allen play, were you cool with that? Or do you think they should have went with the field goal?
No, you absolutely go for it right there. You have Josh Allen. I mean, that man is money in the red zone. And like I say, he just slipped and fell. Like,
okay.
And personally, if that game would have went in the overtime, I don't think if they lost a coin toss, they would have lost that game. They weren't stopping Derrick Henry at the end of that game. So, yeah, I mean, when you get to that point in the game, like, you got to think about winning the game. You got to think about winning the game. And, like, they would have kicked the field goal and they would have tied it up. And, you don't know what could happen. Then Tennessee got the ball ass and Ryan Tannehill, who has the most, like, comebacks in the fourth quarter since going to the Titans, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, you don't give them the ball back. Like, their offense was rolling. Like, if they would have scored that touchdown, the game would have been over. So you don't kick the field goal there. What, you would have kicked it?
No, I mean, not with Josh Allen. I think, and they weren't. And if Tennessee would have got the ball first, they would have won anyway because they would have just Derrick Henry it all the way down. But no, just in one of those it's one of those things too, because it's like, you take the points going to overtime, but they weren't going to stop them. But it was what it was. My second thing is when you said with Derrick Henry and all of that, and you said the past 10 years, and then he was not in it. So, like, I'm putting you on the spot. So who are you taking then? Derrick Henry or prime Adrian Peterson?
Now, you said that in the group message.
Mm-hmm.
I am not too young that I forgot about prime Adrian Peterson. And
who was a MVP.
That man was a absolute dog. And I don't think a running back can win MVP in our new league now. But the deciding factor for Adrian Peterson is, like, he came from Oklahoma and right out the gate was off. It took Derrick Henry a couple years to, like, get going, which is why I will take Adrian Peterson in that best of the past decade,
because he won MVP in 2012. Like, that's still like prime Aaron Rodgers. And
yeah, but the league wasn't as pass happy as it has been the past, like, 5 years, especially the past, like, 3 years.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. But I'm just saying, like, there was still prime Rodgers, there's Brady, man, all of them, and he won MVP that year because he is different. Like,
yeah, I mean, he tore his ACL, and wasn't that the year he won MVP after he tore his ACL?
Yep, came back.
Yeah, so that man is forever goated, and telling you, if Derrick Henry can keep this up, if he runs for 2,000 again, I mean,
I think he'll be right up there.
He'll be right up there because, like, there's data on this. Like, the workload he's been getting, like, this is the year that Derrick Henry should have fell off, and right now, it is not happening. And Derrick Henry is, like, catching more passes now, which gives him a little edge over Adrian Peterson because Adrian Peterson has fucking stone hands. But I mean, on those Minnesota Viking teams, like, Adrian Peterson was the whole team. I mean, their quarterbacks were awful, and everyone knew AP was getting the ball, 8-man boxes, the whole 9, and still was putting up 1,500 yard season. So
it was crazy. He was the rushing yards leader in 2015. Adrian was.
That's wild.
That's wild. All right, it's everyone's favorite time. Aki's bets for the week. What do we got?
The lines were stupid this week. I mean, we have 3 lines that are over 12 points. The Tampa Bay against Chicago. What was the other game? We were Texas playing. Where did Texas at? Where did Texas at? Oh, Texas against the Cardinals was like 17. And then what was the other game? I can't think of it right now. Where's it at? There are three. Oh, Detroit at LA. All those lines were over 12 points. So most of those are stayaways for me. But I pretty much bet the games that we talked about. I'm taking the Bengals getting 6.5 points at the Ravens. That's a lot of points for the Bengals, and I think they're going to cover it. Tennessee getting 4.5. I missed. If I would have put the bet in yesterday, it would have been 5.5. So all the pro bettors are on Tennessee, and so am I. I think they're just going to run the ball, keep it away from Patrick Mahomes, and hopefully cover the spread. And then I got a teaser this week. Tease down Green Bay from 8-2 against the Washington football team that no one likes, and then the 49ers off a bye, going from 4 points to them getting 2 points against the Colts at home on Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
And then a bonus pick. I did not put this bet in, but if you really want to bet on those high spread teams, if I did have to pick one, I'll pick Tampa at 12.5 against the Bears.
Oh, Lord. Oh, that's a lot in the NFL, man. 12.5.
It's like a college football Saturday. But I think if of those three games, the Detroit Rams game, the Arizona Houston game, and the Chicago Tampa game, if any of those teams are going to cover, I think Tampa will.
Okay. Justin, man, anything else going on that we missed? I think we hit on all the important stuff that we missed talking about the NFL.
Yeah, man, it's not a really good week unless you want to talk about Atlanta Falcons versus Miami Dolphins.
No, we're okay on that.
Well, actually, okay. I guess it's finally time to bring them up. There's a lot of chatter this week. Trade deadlines in about 2 weeks, and the Miami Dolphins were in the news about potentially finally pulling the trigger on the horny man himself, Deshaun Watson.
Oh, Lord.
My take on it, I don't know about it. I mean, I'm not sold on Tua. I know Deshaun Watson is 1,000% an upgrade, but depending on how his legal troubles go, he probably won't start a full season until 2023, not 22, 23. So
you're not an upgrade if you're in a jail cell.
Exactly. So,
but all right.
Talent wise, he's better, but we just don't know what his legal situation is about to bring.
Fair enough. We'll be keeping an eye on that. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Oh, Justin, did you have any words to say since we did recently just cross over the 2K mark?
We're not going anywhere, so keep listening.
With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. You guys take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.